Neha Khanna. In a shocking development, a candidate in Ecuador's forthcoming presidential election who campaigned against corruption and gangs was shot dead at a campaign rally on Wednesday. Fernando Villavicencio, a member of the country's National Assembly, was attacked as he left the event in the capital, Quito. He was one of the few candidates to allege links between organized crime and government officials in the country. A criminal gang called Los Lobos, meaning the Wolves, has claimed responsibility. Los Lobos is the second largest gang in Ecuador with some 8,000 members, many of whom are actually behind bars. The gang has been involved in a number of recent deadly prison fights in which scores of inmates have been brutally killed. Los Lobos claimed responsibility in a video in which gang members wearing balaclavas flashed gang signs and waved their weapons. Ecuador has historically been a relatively safe and stable country in Latin America, but crime has shot up in recent years, fueled by the growing presence of Colombian and Mexican drug cartels which have infiltrated local criminal gangs. The killing comes less than a fortnight before presidential elections, in which the issue of insecurity features as the top concern. The cartels use Ecuador, which has a good infrastructure and large ports, to smuggle cocaine produced in neighboring Colombia and Peru to the US and Europe. They have threatened and targeted anyone who they feel stands in their way. Fernando Villavicencio, a serving congressman and former journalist, had condemned what he said was the lenient approach to the gang, saying that if he came to power, there would be a crackdown. He was one of 8 candidates in the first round of the presidential election, although he wasn't the frontrunner. He is not the first politician to be assassinated in Ecuador, though. Last month, the mayor of the city of Manta was shot dead, while in February, a candidate for mayor in the city of Puerto Lopez was killed. But the shooting of a presidential candidate at a public event in the capital of the country is the most brazen attack so far and shocking testimony to the strength of these gangs. 6 people have been arrested by the police in connection with the assassination. A state of emergency has been declared, and the current president, Guillermo Lasso, has vowed that the crime will not go unpunished. Lasso, who will not be on the ballot, said he was outraged and shocked by the killing, adding, "Organized crime has come a long way, but the full weight of the law is going to fall on them." The frontrunner in the polls, Luisa Gonzalez, shared her solidarity with Villavicencio's family, saying this vile act will not go unpunished. Villavicencio had pledged to combat corruption and reduce tax evasion if elected to office. Once known as an island of peace, the Andean country has in recent years reported some of the highest homicide rates in the region. Though Ecuador has no history of producing cocaine, nor its main ingredient, coca, it is sandwiched between the 2 largest narcotics production hotspots in the world, Peru and Colombia. Ecuador has become an integral part in the lucrative cocaine trafficking routes from South America to North America and Europe, according to security experts. And violence has been most pronounced on the country's Pacific coast as criminal groups battle to control and distribute illicit drugs. The country has also lost control of its overcrowded prisons, which are often ruled by criminal gangs. Security forces have struggled to confront the gangs inside prisons, where inmates often take control of branches of the penitentiaries and run criminal networks from behind bars. Hundreds of inmates have been killed in brutal prison riots between rival gangs. All the candidates in Ecuador's presidential election have now pledged to rein in the escalation of violence.
The
second decree declares the state of emergency for 60 days. The armed forces from this moment are mobilized throughout the nation territory. The armed forces from this moment are mobilized throughout the national territory to guarantee the safety of citizens, the tranquility of the country, and the free and democratic elections of August 20.
Let's now shift our focus to North Korea. In a development that has caused quite a flutter, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un today dismissed the military's top general and called for more preparations for the possibility of war, a boost in weapons production and expansion of military drills. This was reported by state media KCNA. Kim made the comments at a meeting of the Central Military Commission, which discussed plans for countermeasures to deter North Korea's enemies that were not named. Kim also set a target for the expansion of weapons production capacity. Last week, he visited weapons factories where he called for more missile engines, artillery and other weapons to be built. Photos released by KCNA showed Kim pointing at Seoul and areas surrounding the South Korean capital on a map. The United States has accused North Korea of providing arms to Russia for its war in Ukraine, including artillery shells, rockets and missiles. Russia and North Korea, though, have denied those claims. Kim also called for the military to conduct drills with the country's latest weapons and equipment to keep its forces ready for combat. That's what the report said. North Korea is set to stage a militia parade on the 9th of September, marking the 75th anniversary of the day of the foundation of the Republic. North Korea has a number of paramilitary groups that it uses to bolster its military forces. The US and South Korea are scheduled to hold military drills between the 21st and 24th of August, which the North sees as a threat to its security. Time for another quick break here on Global Lens. On the other side, our special segment, Climate Change.
My India, My Life Goals campaign, a joint initiative by the TV9 network and Union Ministry of Culture, has been mainstreaming lifestyle for environment, an idea floated by our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi. Launched on World Environment Day on June 5th, the initiative since then has reached out to over 100 million people.